hi,
Spanish
hi,
than
hi.
I thought I did.
They do hi, don't they?
Hi, and
Hi.
Estex Minister. But Spanish, just because I suppose it's a more spoken language and we're more familiar with it. You know, there's a lot more Spanish taught in English schools than Scandinavia. I actually found this quite easy to follow.
But it is very quick, and they talk very fast. And I found there's a lot of information in it. Basically, the basic plot is the first scene we see is this man stumbling through on a road. He gets to a petrol station, and sort of you get the impression he doesn't really know what's going on. Goes to a hospital, and he's basically an amnesiac. His wife comes in to see him and explains he's Juan Elias?
Juan, I believe, yes, but well pronounced.
Juan Elias. He's a lawyer and law lecturer.
Yeah, and he's applying to be the principal lecturer at the college, or the dean of the college.
Chancellor. Is it the vice-chancellor?
Vice-chancellor, that's it.
Yes. And he was in a car with his... Well, it's initially introduced as his niece. But what
was his step-niece, isn't it, really? Or
it's his sister-in-law's stepdaughter.
That's it.
There's no blood... It's not a blood relation, because there is an insinuation
that there is blood in the car.
There's a sexual relationship. Yeah, so basically, they were in a car together. I'm assuming they crashed. He lost his memory, but there is the insinuation that he killed her. Yeah, well,
there's a phone call that implies that as well.
There's a phone message where she leaves for her brother, basically saying he's going to kill me. So I'm guessing the series, but this first episode specifically is based around the trial of Juan Elias. How much do we trust him? We learn early on that he's got a lot of his clients off on an amnesia defense.
Yes.
There's 13 cases where he's pleaded amnesia, and
he's quite the sketchy lawyer, isn't he? His partner is quite the character. I really like him.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, you get this because he doesn't know anything about him. We find out about him through other characters, which is a really interesting way of telling this story. And so we've got this character who by all intents and purposes, is a nasty piece of work. I think he's described as a very dangerous man at one point of the drama.
Yes,
and
he is,
it's interesting because we are sympathising with him because, well, we are led to believe that he doesn't remember, but maybe he is playing on this amnesia because something happened in the car. That is the main mystery. There are bits throughout where you're guessing, does he know? There's a scene where he and his young daughter are left alone in the house, and the son then comes back and sees that the daughter's computer has been used and the internet history is wiped.
Well, not only that, but there's a little bit of paper as well that's been ripped off off a pad. So the implication that the dad, whilst the daughter was asleep watching a movie, went into the internet, found something, and then deleted the history.
Yeah. Playing alongside this is the story of Eva, who's this lawyer in this sort of dinky firm run by this guy called David. They're like a small firm who are chosen by Anna, who's the niece. Her dad, Ramon, I think it's Ramon, hires them despite them being quite a small firm. And there's this question why has he hired them? Why hasn't he hired someone else, someone bigger, someone with more resources? He uses the excuse, Juan Elias has got allies in all of these firms, even though they despise him, because lawyers
they all owe each other favours, wasn't it? It was this idea that we need someone small and independent so that there's no problems.
So you've got Ava, saying, trying to find out why they've hired him, and then at the end we discovered that Ava and Juan Elias were in a relationship.
There was definitely something they were hinting at in the court scene, wasn't there? Because he was definitely looking at her I know you, but I don't, I don't remember, but I recognise you. There was a good sort of series of, he paused every time he was answering one of her questions. A lot more because he was looking at her.
Well, he then claims at the end that she's the only person he doesn't recognise his wife or his kids or his partners at the law firm, but he recognises her. and she was a law student of his, and they had a brief affair, and that makes you question even more, did he do something to the niece, because he...
Yes. Well, there was a lot of talk, there was lots of talk about him playing his games and things, and there was a lot of talk about him manipulating... I suppose it's fair to say his wife is a judge, or a former judge.
Yes, his wife is a judge.
So there's a lot of links with the criminal system.
There's this weird thing about the daughter, Juan's daughter, Julieta, going to the parents
teenager.
And no, she's not even a teenager.
Well, prepubescent.
She's about 10.
Yeah, she's very... But she plays quite a teenage spirit.
Yeah, like a smart aleck kid, wiser than her years type thing.
I didn't like
Goes to see the parents and said, Anna told me that she was going to just go away one day and go windsurfing and go to this small island. And
it was kite surfing. I remember that thinking, what, really?
Kite surfing, that's it.
Kite surfing.
I have actually written that down here.
Yeah.
That was like in... Did you ever watch the French thing, The Disappearance?
Yes.
Yes.
You're right.
Like in episode 2, they discovered that the girl who'd gone missing had a secret NASCAR.
That's it.
Past. She was training to be a racing car driver behind her parents' back, which was very strange. And this kite surfing thing reminded me of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought there was a lot of plot, a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff got covered. But I really, really enjoyed this, Gary.
Similar. I thought this was up there in quality with things like The Missing. And sort of like just really well written, fast paced. As you say, I really like the idea that we're learning because this guy's got amnesia. It's a very clever. I'm slightly surprised it's never been used before. To sort of like get a plot moving along quite quickly, because basically, you don't have to basically explain everything to the audience. You're explaining it to him, and it makes sense. And I do think, as I say, I'm slightly surprised that we've never had a Spanish drama before, because,
The only one I could think of is they had that. Is it Locked Up on Channel 4? Is the Walter?
Oh, was that Spanish? Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think Luke watched the first episode of that, but certainly not on the.
Not on the BBC Two Nordic Noir. And I think this is a fine example of, it's got the spirit of the Nordic Noir, if not necessarily, being Nordic. And I do really like it, and I'm going to watch the second episode tonight.
Yeah, me too.
I know episodes 3 and 4 are on tonight. But I'm going to watch episode 2 tonight. I do think as well, it has to be said, I think the other reason I really enjoyed this is because of how easy I found the subtitles. I know I'm making that a point, but I do think my enjoyment of it was a lot more.
And the style of it as well, I thought was very lush and very cinematic and very American. They had that Without a Trace thing, didn't they, where they were saying how long she'd been
that's what reminded me of things like The Missing, and things like that. Yeah. The other thing I would say, and I know you kind of warned me about this beforehand, about how long it is, I didn't worry about how long it was.
No,
and of course, the beauty of it was, I got about half hour in, I paused it, went and did a few things, came back, didn't feel overly long. Whether I would feel that way if I was forced to sit down and watch it and I couldn't record, that's certainly how I felt, doing it this way.
We'd love to hear from you.
Drop us an email.
custardtvreviews@gmail.com.
Pick of the week?
Well, it's, again, because we're in the sport area of life, there's not a lot. I'm going to leave the big one on the Thursday for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go, it's going to sound strange, and I know it started last week, but I'm going to go for University Challenge. The reason is because the BBC didn't blooming publish the fact that it was back, so I missed it and had to watch it on catch-up. But the return of University Challenge seems to me is the beginning of, the better television coming. That kind of quiz programme Monday slot we talked about a lot when it was Only Connect and University Challenge. And they've moved that to Fridays. And that'll be back probably as we get into September. But I really like the fact that there's something staple on a Monday night to come back and watch. So I really liked that.
I would just flag up before I get to the one that Gary is alluding to.
Insinuating. I'm in it. What? I'm in it. What?
Alluding to.
Right.
Don't Tell the Bride is back again.
Oh, yeah.
Channel. E4
back on
Wednesday, 9 p.m.
When did E4 turn into ITV2?
Yeah, because they've got Coach Trip and Don't Tell the Bride now. But don't, because it was on BBC 3, then BBC 1, then Sky 1, and now it's on E4. More of the same, but it's enjoyable fluff. And also, Gary, Long Lost Family this week is hailing from Catford. So
right, I'll have to watch that. Sorry, I will.
Top of the Lake, 9 p.m. Thursday, BBC 2. Top of the Lake China Girl, to give it its full title. Elizabeth Moss is back as Detective Robin Griffin. Did you watch the first series?
Yes, I did, but over a period of time. I watched about 3 episodes and then I caught up a lot later.
That was all set in New Zealand, wasn't it?
Yes. And
this is her returning...
Again, there was another famous star in that. What was her name?
Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter, and now you've got Nicole Kidman in this one.
Nicole Kidman, again, playing it a bit different from when we saw in Big Little Lies. She's more sort of a free-spirited Earth Mother type in this.
Again, you mentioned the trailer. The trailer for this is fantastic.
It is. I mean, I've seen the first 2 episodes. I went to a screening of this, and it's heard
Shall I do the bit?
Yeah, go on.
No?
Go on.
That's been to another screening.
Thank you, Gary. It's more traditional, I would say. I struggled with the first series. This is much more of a traditional sort of investigation series. Elizabeth Moss is as good as ever. Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth is also in.
Apparently this part was written for her as well.
Yeah, her sort of gawky... Well, she wrote Jane Campion a letter because she's a massive fan of Jane Campion's, who produces and writes this, did like the piano and things as well.
Yes.
And she's great in this as Elizabeth Moss's sort of gawky police partner, and I think together they've got
Elizabeth
a really...
Moss is exactly short, but she's not 6'8" like Gwendolyn Christie is.
Yeah. She plays a really good character in. I just really enjoyed this. I wasn't expecting to after the first series. I decided to go to the screening. I've watched the first 2. Interestingly as well, after the first episode airs on all of the series is going on iPlayer.
Now this is unusual, particularly again at this time of year when there's not a huge amount on that the BBC are effectively giving it away. But it's great for us viewers who get the chance to, if we really like episode 1, we could just binge and. I don't know. I'm hoping I might do that.
I might, because I have seen the first 2 already. They did the first 2 at the screen.
But we'll definitely talk about that in our next episode.
We'll definitely talk about that next week, along with some other bits and bobs.
Well, I've already seen a little bit of. Is it the Ozark on Netflix?
I literally just said Ozark.
Oh, did you just say that? I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, I've watched a bit of that. Sorry, I watched a bit of that, and I'd like to talk about that. That's getting a little bit of buzz
we'll definitely be talking about that next week. So Top of the Lake, Ozark, more Game of Thrones. A lot of stuff to look forward to next week. Maybe Long Lost Family, but I doubt it.
If it's got Catford. Shall I mention all the bits at the end that need to be tied up the business?
Mention all the bits.
Let's mention all the business. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to the Custard TV podcast. Obviously, you can find us at our website, www.thecustardtv.com. The runner is Luke, but Matt's probably running away, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah.
I was going to say, Matt's the runner and editor of the podcast. And the website. You can obviously find us on iTunes. We'd love a 5-star review. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Custard TV. Give us a like.
We're looking for our 200th like.
Yeah, I remember we were looking for 10. Happy days. You can find us on YouTube. If you don't want to listen to our witterings and you want to go, I just want to hear what you say about In the Dark. I don't know. But you can find that on YouTube. Again, search The Custard TV. Matt does the great work there. You can find us on Stitcher and Podcatcher and all the other podcast apps that you like. Overcast, Undercast, Wombling Free.
Also, a little bit of teaser. We've got some big news coming up in August when Luke's back. Big news coming.
Big news. Big news.
We're getting rid of Gary. We haven't told him yet.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was my last podcast. Yeah, I'm being pinched by ITV, like most BBC stars.
Replacing Ant.
Yes, replacing Ant. Can you imagine? No, I'm going to replace Davina McCall on whatever that programme is you just mentioned that I can't remember. Oh, my memory.
Long Lost Family.
Yeah.
Long lost programme title.
Long lost programme title, dear me. Have a lovely week. Thank you very much, Matt, for putting this all together and recording and everything. And we will see you another time.
Very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.